Time to get it rolling. Medz is getting hydrated. What's going on? Halftime. Medz, Janz, Cody Janzen and Zach with you here. 12-ounce sports. What's going on? Midway through the week, wild week in sports. It's been just electric. It doesn't matter what sport you like. I feel everything's going on. Everything's being talked about. I mean, if you're a hockey guy, you're right in the midst of playoffs. Same with basketball. If you're a football guy, well, NFL training camps are starting up. We might get some CFL news even coming next week. I don't know. We'll see. Let's hear how this call goes on Monday. Soccer, you've got World Cup qualifying going on. You got the Euros starting on Friday. Baseball's in swing. I mean, the Cubs are the best team in the world. That's, kind of obvious. The Blue Jays, whatever, they're third. They got some good young guys, I guess. Who cares unless they're winning? I don't know. What else? What other sport am I forgetting? It feels like everything's going on right now. Like we're literally, what's in off season? I don't know.
Nothing. I guess we didn't really cover basketball. I'm not into it, so I always let you kind of.
Yeah, well, I just watch when Damian Lillard goes off. That's the only time I care about it.
Man, that guy's like a one-man show. The craziest part is, like, I didn't really know about his name until Stephen A. Smith brought him up maybe like a month ago. Like, I knew of him, right? Yeah. But like he was like, you know what, enough's enough. Like, this guy, he's on the scene now. He's got to be labeled as one of the best players of all time. And then they're I guess over the past, they've been kind of just sweeping his name out of the rug. It's LeBron, it's Westbrook, it's Steph Curry, and then now all of a sudden it's like, no, we cannot keep this guy hidden in the shadow anymore. Like, he's got to be in the forefront of all these legends that we got going on right now, and then today's NBA. So seeing him go off, be the one-man show he is right now, I'm sure they have a great supporting cast around him. I just personally don't know much about his team, but he seems to be by far the best player on his team. So
they don't have a great supporting cast around him in Portland. That's the issue. But okay, do you like play like pickup basketball? Or you ever like go to the gym and just shoot around?
Oh, 100%.
Okay, am I whack to think? And I get it. I'm not the strongest person in the world, but like to shoot a normal 3-pointer isn't that easy. Like, it's tough. But like he backs it up 10 feet. He's shooting from the logo. And they make it look so easy. Like him and Steph, it's just insane. I respect the hell out of that from a basketball perspective.
Yeah, exactly. And man, again, like, Steph's still in his prime, but I remember like when they're on their like championship run, when they kind of like ripped off 4 or 5 in a row, whatever it was, he would just literally like it seemed like maybe like a few feet past half court. It was never like out of the question if he was gonna, and like it was his release. Like sometimes for me, it felt like he was off balance. But it would just and it was so quick, it would just happen, and the ball would never touch the rim. It was just like swish every time. Like, how is this guy even doing this? Like, he's not even looking at where the ball goes. He just, in his mind, he knows where he is on the floor, and he's just going to drain it every time. It's crazy. Even there's 2 guys draped on him.
Yeah, no, it's something else. Okay, it's enough basketball talk, though. LeBron and the Lakers, they're gone. See you later. Raptors aren't in it, so no one in Canada should care. Okay, hockey talk. Jets, Winnipeg, what is you doing? That was terrible. They went and rolled over the Oilers, and then they just got stomped. I mean, I don't know. Just give me your thoughts on the series before we dive too deep into it.
So last week, you, I, and Brandon kind of, I was, I'm going to be the guilty one here because you guys gave Montreal more and more of a shot to win it. Man, kudos to them because honestly, I thought, okay, this team's hot. I just didn't think they had enough depth and enough, they weren't deep enough to really keep up with that Jets team. And I'm not going to lie, after game 1, I was a little concerned, especially after their best player got suspended 4 games. I'm like, and Carey Price at the level he's playing right now. And Montreal, man, it's just like, Dominic Ducharme, obviously, like, it's weird because like 10 days ago, everyone was talking about, how awful Bergevin is, how awful their like coaching staff is, and like they started the year so hot, and then they're so vanilla like the rest of the way, and then Toronto was going to be one of the best teams. That they're the beast in the North. Winnipeg was the beast in the North, and then it's crazy how 10 days ago we were thinking that, and now it's like Montreal's like, okay, what about us now, right? And now they're gone. They just swept Winnipeg in 4 games, and it's just like this team is so hot right now, man. I don't get it. And the craziest stat is that they haven't trailed in the past 7 games. At all. And I'm sure you have this stat sheet, but since we're on the topic, we got to bring up Carey Price's numbers, man. I mean, you as a goaltender can speak on this better than I can, but when I see, 7 games won, goals against at a 1.64, save percentage at 9.43 and 1 shutout, I mean, come on, dude. As this guy not just solidified time and time again that he's still the number 1 goalie in the world or what?
It's world class what he's doing. And the thing that's most impressive about Carey Price, and say what you want about Logan Stanley's goals there in, yeah, it was game 4. It would have been game 4 where Stanley had 2. Say what you want about those. I give Stanley credit. They're good shots for Carey Price. It's not a shooter you see often. But they weren't, they weren't muffins by any means. Like, it wasn't like Fleury's goal that he allowed yesterday. Like, and that's the impressive part. Like, hey, I give Fleury all the credit in the world. He bounced back from that. He acted like nothing happened. That's hard to do. I mean, that's shanking a field goal right there and moving on and, finishing your day 4 for 5, whatever.
Yeah.
It's impressive. But Carey Price has just been so consistent. Nothing seems to rattle him right now. He's in his zone. He's feeling confident. And, hey, I think they got a chance when they play Colorado next round.
I can't count them out, honestly. I thought, obviously when you watch the Vegas-Colorado series, it's like, okay, who the hell is going to stop this team right now, right? Probably nobody. And we all thought that after the first 2 games, Colorado, when they were playing Vegas. And I just thought, like Vegas was still a deep team, and I didn't think that they're playing their best hockey. And I still think Colorado's playing good. They're only a couple bounces away from being up 3-2 as well, or maybe even 3-1, right? Or even winning the series for that matter. But I just think, man, it's like, I don't know what's really going on with them right now. Like, they kind of lost that pep in their step. And even Bednar, I think that's his name, right? Bednar, the coach for Colorado. What was he doing? Like, Brandon and I were kind of going back and forth last night, texting, like, why did he move Landeskog away from that top line? Like, that's the thing that's been working for them. And now you're just is he trying to compensate for the other 2-3 lines not working out? Like,
I think it's a big panic move right there. That screams panic move. Also, Jack hops in the comments said, I thought Carey Price was over clown face. Jack, I agree with you there. What was your prediction for this series? I want to know that, Jack, because I don't think I saw maybe one person pick Montreal in that series to go back to it. I think it was John Buchagras too, Jack's best friend. So like there was I can't think. Do you know anyone who picked Montreal to win? I don't think I do.
My mom's a huge Habs fan. She said Habs in 5, and I was like, "Hey, I was like, shut your mouth, you're crazy, mom." And
that's wild.
She called me after game 4. She's like, "How about that?" And I'm like, I just want to shove my whole leg down my throat. I'm like, I got nothing, literally got nothing. And honestly, okay, we had to talk about this guy a little bit, because if it were anyone else, for the most part, I would say, when you're a goal scorer, you need to score goals. Guys like Austin Matthews, guys like Laine, like they need to be able to score goals to produce, but this guy, for whatever reason, like he's making an impact on the ice every time he steps onto the ice. It's like Cole Caulfield every time. It's like whenever he has a puck, it's like I'm always on the edge of my seat, because I feel like something exciting is going to happen. And even if he misses the net, just the way he skates and how fluent he is with the puck, and that line is buzzing right now with him, Suzuki, and Toffoli, I believe, is the other winger out there. But man, that guy can buzz. And even like the step in overtime, like for a 19, 20-year-old man, like in the playoffs, playing at the pace he's at, like you got to assume at some point when he gets that first goal, the floodgates are just going to completely open up.
He still hasn't scored in playoffs, eh?
No.
But
he's played so well. And I got to say, he's impressed me. Like, he's actually a lot better defensively. He's more sound than what people think.
Yeah, no, he's a good player. I feel there's going to be a lot of teams that do regret passing on him due to size, due to skating, due to whatever. End of the day, I mean, what you need the NHL's goals. That's a guy who's going to get it for you. Jack said he had the Habs in 6. Wow, just to pick the Habs in general and not even go 7 wasn't even an option for me. I did not think that they had it. I thought Winnipeg was buzzing. I thought Hellebuck was going to play that good. I don't think the Habs I don't think the Jets made life as difficult for.
No.
Yeah, it was just weird. They just kept to the outside. Maybe Montreal's D is that good, and you got to give them full credit. But again, Connor Hellebuck looked like a stud against the Oilers, and the Oilers made it easy for him. Montreal got to the dirty areas. Montreal has those guys like Corey Perry who really don't care. They're going to get in your face. They're going to get in front of you. They're going to score dirty goals, and the entire roster feeds off that. That's what I respect about Montreal's style.
Yeah, and the one thing that scares me, and I kind of thought this the past couple days, like, does Montreal, maybe not as good, obviously, but do they not remind you a little bit of the Kings back in 2012, 2014 when they won their cup runs? And again, not the same depth, but they can roll their four lines out there and not be worried. And they're, if the playoffs have shown us anything so far, is that Montreal, for whatever reason, they're They're going in those dirty areas, like you said, and they're winning it. And they do it every time. That Gallagher, that glorified checking line that they had out there with Deneau, Gallagher, and Lehkonen before Jake Evans got hurt or whatever. Like, that line has been one of their best lines. One of the best lines in the playoffs. And, like, they're not always going to score goals, but they produce and they hold the ozone like no other team does so far in the playoffs. And they're winning these puck battles that Toronto was unable to do with, despite the skill they had on their roster. And same thing with Winnipeg. It's like they're like afraid to get in these dirty areas, and Montreal keeps winning them. They're not afraid of anything right now, man. And they shouldn't be. They're playing great hockey.
I think that's where the confidence comes into play. And I always joke they're still going to play Colorado next round. Obviously, Vegas just looks, they're buzzing. They're top guys. They're top guys. That's exactly what you need in the playoffs. Yeah. Like, I think that OT goal yesterday was Pietrangelo to Pacioretty, to Stone. Like, and it's just, hey, if you're top guys, you're going to have success. That's as simple as it comes down to. If your star players act like star players in the playoffs, you're going to go far. Vegas, they figured that out. They figured out how to stop McKinnon, how to stop Landeskog, how to stop Rantanen. They've tamed Makar, even though every time Cale Makar's on the ice, I'm staring at him. I'm like, wow.
How small is that guy's hockey stick? Have you noticed that at all?
No, I think you're thinking of Sam Girard.
Oh, I am thinking of Sam Girard.
Sam Girard. It's wild. He uses a mini stick out there.
Dude, it's crazy. I look at that thing, I'm like, what the hell is this guy using? Like a junior stick.
I know. Oh. Every time I see that, I'm like, ooh. Like, how do you even get used to that? But then, who was it? Who was the St. Louis? What was his name? I can't remember. There's one guy, played a little NHL. He had a stick that was longer than Chara.
Oh, Jesus.
Jack says the Bruins star players are buzzing. Past what a series for him. I don't know. Yeah. I wonder if the Bruins can keep it alive tonight, because the Islanders just seem to have their number. It's almost like the Bruins are snake bit. I really want to see a Game 7. I want to see it go back to the Garden. I don't know. Isles fans just piss me off for some reason. But I don't know. I don't know if Boston's got it in them.
I can speak for most Flyers fans that we absolutely hate the Islanders, and Boston too. I don't really care much for Boston either. But man, the Islanders, and the one thing that they were missing, in games 1 and 2 is, I thought, but Barzal, honestly, I thought he was hindered by like something. I'm like, what's going on with this guy? Is he injured? Is he nursing something? Like, he didn't seem right, and then he just needed that one goal in Game 3 or whenever it was, and then ever since then, man, he's looked like the same Barzal that we're used to seeing. Even last year in the bubble, he's been buzzing, and it just seems, Varlamov, it's like you said, as long as he keeps up his play, he's been killing it. And I was one last episode saying, why aren't they playing Sorokin? And this is the reason why they're not playing Sorokin, because Varlamov, when he's at the top of his game, man, he's as good as anybody that you want back there between the pipes. And Boston, it's so hard to judge this series, because it can literally go either way. Like, every game comes down to the very end, and it's like a nail biter every time. It just seems that the Islanders just generate enough to get over that hump every time. And you know how they play. Their brand of hockey is, once they get it up, they're going to make it impossible for you to enter their zone every time. Boston almost found a way last game, but it's very boring to watch after that. That's why, the last 10 minutes when it was, I forget what it was, 5-2 or 5-3, I was like, okay, should I even watch this game anymore? Because I know exactly what the Islanders are going to do. They're just going to trap the puck and then shoot it out, loft it out every time, get a line change in. It's like same time. And it almost bit them in the ass, right? Like, Bruins got that late goal, or 2 goals, whatever it was, and almost tied up late there. So they do have to, generate a little more offense when they're up, and not just, rest on their laurels when they have a 2-goal lead. But tonight it's gonna be different. Obviously, they're back at home, and that's one of the best barns that they play in front of. So I see them closing.
Jack says he doesn't. Jack says he doesn't feel good about it. I feel good about it from the Bruins' perspective. I think you go in there, you get an early one, you silence that crowd, and you got to jump out to a significant lead. If they can jump out to a 2-goal lead, I think they're fine. I think they'll keep their foot on the pedal. They're a veteran group. They've been there before, and as wild as it sounds, I could see them winning 4-2, 5-2.
Yeah. They gotta get that first goal though, man. If they get behind the 8 ball, it can get loose very early for them because
especially against Trotz there. It was funny though, because on World Hockey Report a while ago, we were talking with Dan Friedman. This was after game 1, so he's an Isles writer. And I said, hey, you know what? I like Sorokin as a goaltender. He's obviously the goalie of their future. But right now, what this team needs is they need a secure guy who they fully trust behind him, and that's Semyon Varlamov. Yeah. He was the guy in playoffs last year who, gave him a fighter's chance against Tampa Bay. He got him far enough. Yeah, he let in some stinkers. That's fair. I mean, hey, all goalies will go through that. But at the end of the day, they play a lot more confident with him behind him. And he's been a difference maker. So I was not shocked one bit that Trotz went with Varlamov.
And I feel like you can, again, can't speak this more than I can, but I feel like Varlamov's one of those goalies too, where he doesn't fit that mold of that 1A, 1B system too much. Even last year in the playoffs, I'll be the first to admit, that Flyers-Islanders series should not have won 7 games. But I thought when they were riding the hot hand between him and Thomas Greiss in net, it just seemed to kind of rattle his confidence a little bit. And by the 6th and 7th game, because I think Varlamov played both those games, you saw that confident goaltender, just okay, this is my show. I'm not going to get let out of my hands again, and I'm going to take it over the rest of the way, which is what he did. And again, it's same, Sorokin, it's like you said, goaltender of the future, no doubt, right? But maybe the moment's a little too big for him right now, right? It's his first year in the NHL playoffs, as we know. The pace is different. It's a different beast all around, right? It's more intense, and Varlamov's been there, right? He made a deep playoff push last year in the conference finals, and that's the guy. If I'm Trotz, he's my guy. He's the guy I'm riding the rest of the way. And I'm shocked the other night that Rask got pulled, unless he got hurt.
I think they're saying he might be hurt, and Boston's already dealing with injury problems. I mean, Jack mentioned Carlo. I mean, without him, they're struggling. Brandon Carlo's out. Kevin Miller on the back end. Jake DeBrusk is a healthy scratch. They're dealing with it already. Here's a hot take on Sorokin, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, because you've played in front of bigger crowds than me, but Sorokin's first season in the NHL was in mainly empty buildings. Yeah. There wasn't many crowds. There wasn't many rambunctious stadiums that he had to play in front of. So now come playoffs, there's a little more adversity. Everything's amped up by 12. Plus, this is the first time he's playing in real NHL barns that are full of fans. It's a different game. I mean, when you look at playoff crowds versus regular season, it's night and day difference. So maybe that there's a little intimidation factor there. Maybe there's a little bit of, not nerves, but it's a learning lesson. It's a lot different to be playing in the Winnipeg whiteout than in the Edmonton bubble.
100%. Yeah, 100%. And for me, yeah, exactly. I feel like if it was me during football, with no fans, it feels like a training camp practice. It feels like a scrimmage with another team, right? You're like, okay, I can kind of you definitely feel more relaxed. You feel more comfortable in what you're doing, obviously. But you're right. Once they got the fans back rolling there towards the end of the year, and then they obviously increased it by 10,000 more come playoff time. It's exactly. Then then you're so under the microscope, right? And then these fans breathing down your throat, especially when things aren't going well, right? And even against the Penguins, you kind of notice them be shaky, even though they found a way out of that series. He did look a little shaky compared to how he was during the regular season, right? And then that kind of carried over a little bit to the Boston series, and now you're starting again to see Trotz being okay, maybe the moment is a little bit too big for him. We're going to ride Varlamov because he's been there, done that, and he's got to be their one through the rest of the way. There's no doubt.
Now, I think Pittsburgh did have a fair amount of fans. I don't exactly have a number I can put my finger on, but I mean, if you think about the Isles regular season, for the most part, they're playing in front of 1,000 or 2,000 fans. They're talking about how loud, how great it is. And then you go into the Garden for game 1 and there's 12,000. I know that they increased it later on, but that's a massive difference. Now
you're a shot of energy.
Yeah, now you're almost in an actual playoff, atmosphere. Yeah. And when you go and get throttled 5-2, 5-3, whatever it was in game 1, you're probably a little shook as a attendee.
It gets in your head, man. I'm telling you. That's the thing. Going into the next game, he's I got to step up, right? A little more pressure's on him. It's not like the regular season. You're counting down the games now, right? It's we only have, 3 left here, right? Unless we win tonight. So it's that continuous kind of with the Canadiens, where doing the push back kind of thing to, kind of increase your chances and kind of postpone your elimination, which the Islanders haven't had to worry about yet. And obviously tonight they have a great chance of closing things out, but Yeah, I like that, but it's like you said too. For the reasons I'm choosing the Islanders, is Boston's dealing with a lot of their own stuff right now. With you just said, DeBrusque was a healthy scratch, right? Carlo, that's a big presence in your back end. That's out. If Rask is out tonight too, and you have to ride this other guy, yes, I know his numbers in AHL. Again, he might be the goaltender of the future, but again, it's the same case for Sorokin. The moment it might be too big for him, right? Stepping into the Coliseum, it's gonna be a daunting task getting out there with the game, and he's got the team in front of him, and I mean, you know what, kid, it's your chance to kind of prove yourself and to make a name for yourself at the NHL level. So it's a daunting task, but hey, it's one that has to be done. If you're a Boston Bruins fan, he's got to step up.
Okay, Olympics of playoff atmospheres. Give me your top 4 rinks playoff hockey atmospheres.
Oh man, jeez, Montreal. I can say Montreal is like a really loud barn.
You got to start off with an honorable mention, then you go bronze, silver, gold. We got the Olympics going on here.
Okay, yeah. Okay, honorable mention. I gotta go with the Flyers. Obviously, I'll get them. They're not the loudest, but I'll throw them there. Homer, yeah. Jeez, man, put me on the spot. Nashville. You got to throw Nashville on there.
Overrated.
Okay. Rangers. We got to throw Madison Square Garden. Like, what a legendary arena. You got to throw them in there. Like, I've never been there, but it seems loud as hell on TV. Okay, what am I at? Silver now?
No, you're already on to gold. You've already named 3.
Oh, jeez. Okay, then I know Montreal. Man, it's like I should have put the Blackhawks in there somewhere, but I'm going with the Montreal Canadiens. They got a loud barn, bro. That's a loud barn.
Yeah, honorable mention. The 4th. I'll go with Vegas. I think Vegas is a rockin' atmosphere. They just continue to impress.
Yeah.
Bronze. Oof. Winnipeg Whiteout. It's electric. It is. You can't, Winnipeg, Manitoba fans, they're just insane. Silver, I'll go with the Sea of Red. Calgary. I mean, when they had their heydays, I think that place was just absolutely buzzing. The Saddle Dome's tiny. You're caved in there. You're on top of the fans. The cocaine beers there are just insane. I mean, that place just rocks. And then definitely, I mean, Chicago's got to be gold. When you think about the Blackhawks, their runs, their dynasty era, that place was electric. There's nothing that comes close to it, I don't think.
Yeah, I should have threw them on the list because that 2010 playoff run. Again, just watching on TV, man. But that the Madhouse in Madison or whatever they call it out there was buzzing every game. But man, the Rangers. Every time I heard them on TV with the announcers, you couldn't hear them. Like if the Rangers score remember that OT goal they got against the Caps back. I don't know when it was, like a while back. I think it was Derek Stepan in Game 7. Like you could not hear a thing. Except for just this loud blur of noise, and then their goal horn go off, and you heard Don Emmerich freaking out in the background. But then even his voice was starting to be faded out by everything else, all the elements going on around. I'm like, holy jeez! If I was in that arena right now, my eardrums will be pierced.
Yeah, MSG's a good one. Jack says the quietest rinks are Toronto, Boston, then Tampa. Tampa has a half-assed good one. It's a very above average. It's not like. I'm thinking of Tampa as an elite playoff rink. Yeah. But again, I think Boston, the Garden can get going a little bit. I think it's an underrated one. Jack, who's your favorite, though? Let us know in the comments. Of course, anyone who's watching, let us know in the comments. Favorite playoff rinks.
Yeah, he is right about Toronto because, that arena has potential to be loud as hell. But the reason...
Too many suits.
Too many suits, man. Too many suits, not enough fans. They don't celebrate whenever they... Even come playoff time, it's like... who wants to spend $600 American USD to sit in the third bowl during the playoffs? Like I don't. I'm not going to pay that, right? It just suits who are able to afford it, and it's annoying. So yeah, moving on.
I think Montreal is up there to a certain extent, but mostly with their intro. They've got the best intro in playoffs. I mean, when they're blasting "Fix You" by Coldplay, it's just straight shivers. Seeing Carey Price buzz out there, then put up a 960 save percentage easily. Okay, NHL, what series have we not talked about? Oh, Carolina, Tampa Bay. I mean, Carolina was out of it. I mean, we talked about it last week. I didn't like Carolina. I didn't think that they don't have it. They don't have that next level. They don't have that high-end offense, that high-end goaltending, that high-end defense to compete with your Tampas, with your Islanders, with your Bruins. They're just a good East team. They're good. They're not great.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And again, they got to figure out what they're doing with their goaltending. Like, Nedeljkovic, whatever his name is, I'm gonna call him Djokovic, but I know that's a tennis player. But he's good. Like, honestly, I thought overall he had a pretty good year. But there were just moments in playoffs where he had way too many brain farts, man. Even that one goal I thought Goudreau got back in, I think it was like game 1 or 2, when he's trying to push out the post and he just completely caved into his own net. I'm like, I get it, mistakes happen, man, but like that's like a mistake you make when you're, in like junior hockey. Like that shouldn't be happening at the NHL level. And again, speak on that. But I just when I saw that at first, I'm like, what happened? And then I saw him like, was he trying to push out the post and he just completely whiffed on it? Which I assume that's what happened, right?
Yeah, it was just a weird rookie mistake.
Oh.
Kind of lost his balance, maybe caught an edge or something. It was ugly. It was a gross goal to allow. But then for Brendan Moore to go to Mrazek for 2 games, and yeah, Mrazek wins them. I called him that the other day, Djokovic. That's what Jack said. So, but like then you go to Mrazek for 2 games, and okay, sure, that's fine. But now you're going back to him in a do or die game 5.
Yeah.
You're just throwing them to the wolves. You're being like, hey, go play. You better do good or you're just going to lose your confidence for next year. I think you either have to decide, hey, is he our goalie of the future and we're going to ride with him? Or are we just going to keep doing a 1A, 1B goaltender system that never works in the playoffs?
No, and it can only get you so far, right? And you seen that with the Islanders over the past, and you've seen with Carolina as well, right? With Mrazek when Reimer was back there also. And I just think Tampa's still my favorite, man. Honestly, I even 5-on-5, like you can put Boston up there too, but who moves the puck as well? Forget the power play because we know their power play is always buzzing. They move the puck well, but dude, just even 5-on-5, some of like that other game the other night when I knew Carolina was out when they're up 4-2, and it just seemed like every time I was watching the TV and I saw Tampa score, I'm like again, but like the separation that they're causing and that they're like cross ice passes, like the separation they were creating away from Carolina 5-on-5 was just so impressive, man. I can't speak enough. Obviously, like Stamkos is back; he's in full throttle. But explain how is Kucherov playing this well after missing a full schedule of hockey? It's like he didn't skip a beat. I feel like he's playing better than he was last year in the bubble.
Well, probably. I mean, you have to play better. You have to have more energy if there's more fans. But again, he's naturally gifted. He's unbelievably skilled, and he gets that adequate rest and recovery after an injury, after surgery. He wasn't rushed back. He wasn't playing meaningless games, getting extra bangs and bruises. Now he comes into the playoffs. John Cooper's smart enough to not load management, but he knows, hey, if they're winning, they're not going to throw Kucherov out there for fun. They're really using him wisely. They're giving him the power play time. They're giving him those opportunities to freewheel, play a lot of offense. And man, that's just what Kucherov does best.
No, I know, but you look at it doesn't matter how great the player is. Usually it takes you like 2 or 3 games, especially at the playoffs, man. Like it's not like you ask them to come back like 2 or 3 games at the end of the year and kind of shake that rust off. It's like you're asking them to come back in the lineup when you know it's gonna be tough. Like Carolina had a good team, right? And they're like stepping in. I forget, who Kim played in the first round there. Kind of Florida, right? Exactly. Which Florida had a really good team this year, and you're asking to come back right away. It's like, hey, kid, like we know you're capable of. You're one of the best players in the game, but you don't really have the opportunity to shake off the rust because if you get behind the 8 ball, it's going to be an early exit. And right off the bat, man, it was just like, no worries, and just like pots like 2 the first game or 3. It's insane, man, what that guy's capable of. And like again, he's not talked about it not nearly enough as I think he should be. And again, it's just because of the amount of talent Tampa has on their team. It's like pick your poison. Him, Braden Point, Hedman, Stamkos, Killorn, like even they're like depth players. Like, can we talk about how Tyler Johnson's been waived twice? Who wouldn't want that guy as their third line center right now?
Yeah, no, it's insane, that team that they've built. Obviously, it's going to come to an end once they got to actually pay these guys. Yeah. But to think that like Steven Stamkos might not be a top 5 player on that team,
crazy.
It's crazy.
No way. No,
it's insane to see how deep they are. Obviously, Vasilevsky just gets better as the playoffs go along.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't think the Islanders stand a chance against them, and I don't think the Bruins stand a chance against them. No. So they're going to go back to the Cup final, and the only team that can stop them is the Montreal Canadiens. That's Carey Price, the only thing that can stop Tampa Bay this year.
Could you imagine if Montreal got past Tampa? Like Montreal, listen, we always talk about Toronto, like Canadian markets making like a Stanley Cup run. We all saw what happened in Vancouver back in 2011 when they freaking like purged everything after they lost, just like looting everywhere. Can you imagine Montreal? Like even the other day, I know they're having problems.
Yeah, it was a riot.
Riot, and dude, that's the second round. Imagine if they somehow like vaccine rules kind of come through and the government changes it and alters the rules where they're allowed to bring more fans in and they just keep winning series. That city's going to go down in flames.
I think they might just break into the rink at that point.
At that point, you might as well.
They might just break into the rink and put 20,000 in there for fun. Like it'll be like Manchester United, breaking into their rink after that whole Super League debacle or whatever.
Oh my God, man! I'm telling you right now, if Montreal goes down 2-0, whether it's against Vegas or Colorado, something's gonna happen with the fans. That the government's gonna be like, you know what? All right, like we really need some help now. Let's roll in another 10,000 fans here, 12,000, whatever it is, because we need any advantage or edge over this team that we can.
Where do you fall on the fandom line as a Canadian when Montreal's the only Canadian team left? They're the best Canadian team. Do you cheer for them or do you cheer against them?
I cheer for them just because I'm a Flyers fan, obviously, but if there's any Canadian team that I'll kind of pull for and hope that they win, because I like their brand of hockey, it is the Canadians. And I've always liked their players too, man. Like I like Carey Price, I like his personality and just how calm, cool, and collected he is. And it's just Toronto, honestly. I'd probably cheer for every Canadian market except for the Leafs.
That's fair.
Yeah.
You bring up the players, and that's the one where I don't like Quebec. I don't like Montreal. I just can't stand them. I don't know. It's the accent. It's the different language. That's just me being honest. I don't hate them by any means. I just don't like it. I wouldn't go travel there on a vacation, but I love Carey Price. I love Brendan Gallagher. Cole Caulfield's electric. Tyler Toffoli's just shoving it down Vancouver's throat.
Shea Weber too, right? Blue pill.
You got Shea Weber. You got Jeff Petrie, former Oiler, great guy. You got Joel Edmondson, Stanley Cup winner with the St. Louis Blues. There's so many likable guys on that team. Corey Perry. These are just guys who I just love in the hockey world. I'm like, wow, it would be cool to see them go on a magical run. They kind of have that Dallas feeling of last year where they're getting it done. If they got to win a 1-0 game, they will. And if they have to win a 4-3, 5-4 game, they're going to do that too.
They'll find a way to do it, exactly. And it's funny, you actually named off like 3 or 4 other guys from their back end, like Ben Sherratt's another one as well.
Yeah.
You know pretty well. But dude, what do you think the average height of the Montreal Canadiens back end is? Because I was thinking about that the other day. Like they have trees back there.
Their big four is like 6'3", 220 average at least.
But dude, even like Kulak isn't really small, right? Like Sherratt.
And he hopped in the top 4 there when Petrie got hurt.
Yeah, and he
for like game 3 and 4. Oh man, he just hopped in there. That it's incredible when you have. I don't know of any other team, if you think about your Luke Schens, your Zach Bogosians, if you have to put them in top 4 roles, they struggle. They look out of place a little bit. Kulak was phenomenal.
He did great, man. Like it's funny because obviously Gustafsson, he's a sour guy in my books. I've been shredding that guy all year and how it was a mistake. That $3 million, like we need to get that off the books immediately. And like, I have to admit, for the limited role he's been playing, I think he's been averaging over maybe like 6-7 minutes of ice time. And then he ripped one bar in the other night on the power play, which that's what he's been for. He's a power play specialist. He can be a quarterback. It's just in the back end, he is a little more of a liability. And you never know what you're going to get. He's a jack of all trades that way. But man, you know what? For the minutes he's been given, he's been actually moving the puck well, and he's been doing his role pretty well over there. And that goal just kind of solidified what they brought him in for. It's like, on that second unit, we need someone to move the puck, and he ripped a nice one home, and I'm like, here we go. Like, of course. The guy
they've got that Romanov kid, too.
Yeah. He actually did pretty well during the year. And again, like, I know that they made the choice to scratch him. Was that his first game?
Yeah, I think so. It's his first playoff one.
And I know he was highly touted in the KHL, so maybe it was another thing. Bergeron kind of wanted to wait, like an opportunity to,
He was nasty at the World Juniors. That's what I remember.
Yeah, he was really good. Yeah. Even throughout the year, like I thought he did a pretty good job, like in his role with Montreal. But again, playoffs is another level, and they just kind of groomed him to get ready for that game. By like game 4, like that's the game you're gonna throw him in. But hey, why not? He didn't do bad. I thought he played all right.
Yeah. So I'm seeing something here. Prior to the series, Nathan McKinnon was putting up Gretzky and Lemieux-like numbers. Now Mark Stone stopped all of that. That's true. I mean, McKinnon's kind of gone ghost in that series.
Okay.
That's a team in trouble, but again, that's a team I'm also not counting out because they can just go off for 7 goals in a game, and I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be like, well, it's Colorado. They're good.
Nah, man, it's the same thing with Edmonton, man. And like, I know Colorado is a better team than Edmonton. They got more depth, but when you ride so heavily on that top line, at some point it's going to catch up to you when you're not getting production from your, second, third, fourth line. Not as much anyway. It's not like that they're bad players. It's just that first line was creating so much buzz and made such an immediate impact that the other lines weren't really, finding their footing to kind of keep up with them, right? And now we're kind of seeing that Vegas is more well-rounded. They're more deep than Colorado is. They can score. Vegas's best line right now is that second line with Carlson, Riley, and Marchessault. Marchessault has been playing.
Yeah, sorry, Florida Panthers fans could use that guy. Oh my
god, man! Like who? I pay that guy $6-7 million on the spot right now. And you know what? Every team had a chance to like sign him, right? And it's crazy. Same thing, Carlson, right? He scored 4 goals in Columbus, and they thought, oh, we're like done with him. Comes back the following years, nets 40, right? It's like what are these scouts doing? Like, did you not notice this? Like, it's weird how like scouting works nowadays. You just kind of, it's the same thing with like Casey Middlestat out in Buffalo, right? 2nd round pick. Played great at the World Juniors, and I know he hasn't, actually this past year he wasn't too bad. But imagine if the Sabres moved on from him and a team like Tampa or some other contenders swooped up on him. Like he's easily like a 30-goal guy. Easily a 30-goal guy. If he plays with the right pieces, right? Obviously his development's not still quite there. But that's the thing. It's like you gotta be patient with these guys, man. You're not gonna have these McDavids or Drysalls of the world or McKinnons of the world where they're gonna be superstars by the age of 21. Like some guys don't hit that stride till they're like prime by their 23, 24 years old. Like you got to be more patient.
I think a lot of it's who they're around, who you're developing them with, and just how you're developing them. Honestly, if you put them in a situation to succeed, they're likely going to, and if they don't, then you've got an issue. But if you're just throwing them, from middle stats standpoint, if you're kind of throwing them out there with scrubs for the most part, what do you expect from them? That's switching gears though to reffing. This is a hot topic. Bruce Cassidy gets fined $25,000, calls them the New York Saints, whatever, says the refs aren't being fair to him. I don't know. Barry Trotz was complaining about refs or, Bergeron cheating in the faceoff dot, saying the linesmen have to deal with it. Everyone complains about refs. The refs are never going to be perfect, and that's what makes them human. But again, I don't like it. I don't like seeing coaches, GMs trying to embarrass refs in the media because without the refs, what do you have? And so if you expect perfect reffing, come up with a plan. I don't know. There clearly is some disconnect where you can't just bitch and complain all the time that, we're being treated unfairly and not have a solution to this. If it's a penalty, it's a penalty. If it's not, it's not. But again, I get it. Sometimes some refs are going to call games differently than others. Sometimes you're going to get a slash here, a cross check here that won't be called at another time. But again, if someone has a perfect formula, if Bruce Cassidy or Barry Trotz has a perfect formula, speak now or forever hold your peace.
No, and in my opinion, there's a reason why in the playoffs the whistles have to be put away. There's nothing wrong with the reffing right now. And it's like you said, the last game when Bruce Cassidy decided to pipe up and kind of throw the refs under the bus, there was 4 minutes of penalties?
They got like 4 minors in the Isles had too.
Okay.
Jack says they've been atrocious. I don't think they've been atrocious. Have they been perfect? No, they'll never be perfect though. You're always going to get it where, hey, you're going to feel like your team's getting screwed over. You're going to feel like there's a call that got missed because you watched it on a replay in slow motion that the refs don't have that opportunity to see. And I think that, from Bruce Cassidy's perspective, what right does he have to criticize the ref if he's never reffed in an NHL game? It's wildly high. It's the fastest it's ever been. Mm-hmm. And, and they're going to make all these calls on the spot. It's tough. I don't know. I give him credit. Maybe I'm off. Maybe I'm way off and it's just been atrocious and the refs need to watch, the NBC replays more. But again, I have a tough time criticizing him.
No, and the calls they made, they didn't lose course of the game. It didn't favor any team in any way where it completely altered the game in the direction it was going in. So that didn't happen, right? There's going to be bad calls. Obviously, if you're a Bruins fan or Islanders fan, you're not going to be happy with anything, but you move on from it. It's whatever. It's a call, right? You deal, our teams have dealt in the past. It's their teams now. And obviously, the more the deeper your team goes in the playoffs, they're going to be so under the microscope now, right? Obviously, when you get into the conference finals, second round, whatever it is, leading up until the Stanley Cup final. So it's just you got to deal with it, man. Like again, it's like you said, they're not perfect. They're going to make these calls, but I think for the most part, they're going to put their whistles away. It's not that they're missing calls or they're letting teams get away with a lot of stuff that you wouldn't see during the regular season. That's just the way it is in the playoffs. Like the play ramps up. Right? You're going to see some hits from behind, some slashes that won't get called, some dirty stuff in front of the net. But that's just the way it is. You think half the stuff that Marchand's doing right now in front of the net or just being the normal pest he is, you think that worked during the regular season? Even though he is very, very smart and sneaky about getting away with it at times, but you're going to let it go because that's playoff hockey. You're trying to get under. You're trying to find any advantage you can to get under the opponent's skin. That's the way it is. So move on to the next game. If you're Boston, find a way to tie it up so you can bring it back to TD Garden and win it there.
Jack says Kelly Sutherland, the Canes Bolt series was unacceptable. Looking back, yeah, there's missed calls. Yeah, there's calls that shouldn't have been called. I mean, the Andre Palat minor, probably
that's
questionable.
Sports in general.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing is like, yeah, I mean, hey, there were some shitty calls. I think Kelly Sutherland's the best ref. I think he's probably a little past his time. But again, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm not a diehard fan and I fully respect people who are. Don't get me wrong. I mean, if you're the one buying jerseys and stuff, hey, you're keeping these teams afloat to some extent. But like, I also just have a hard time criticizing refs. And when I was playing, I was such an asshole to refs. I mean, I'll be the first to admit it. Like I was the one always, complaining, being like, oh, we don't get these calls. That should have been goalie interference. This should have done that. Then you kind of take a look at it from an outsider perspective. And you're like, man, I mean, it's tough to call some of these in live, live time when as a ref, you get to watch the whole game. You got to focus on all the other stuff going on behind, guys are trying to get sneaky, obviously, Krejci not too sneaky with a little ball tap there on Barzal. But for the Canes Bolt series, I think one of the questionable, plays, if you think about some of the goaltender interference, But again, I just think that comes down to rule book. If the NHL puts in a rule book, hey, stay out of the crease, we're having a different conversation. Goalie, if you're out of your crease, you're going to get bumped into.
Yep.
Stay in your crease, keep the player of the crease, and we're going to have a Brett Hall foot in crease goal. Run that situation with full out video replay. And it's a totally different scenario like we have now. The NHL has changed drastically over those 22 years. So for people to use that as an excuse of, we can't have players in the crease, I don't know. That's where I stand on goalie interference. I don't know. Maybe you saw something different.
No, I kind of stand where you are. And I really thought, at the start of the year with no fans in the building at all, I thought it would have been a bit of a challenge coming into playoff time now where there are fans, right? And again, the plays ramped up and there's going to be certain things that you miss just because the speed of the game, it's always increasing, right? The game's always getting faster. And on top of that, you bring the fans into there and it's very easy for the fans to kind of persuade your choice and making a penalty call, right? Especially if it's the home team. So I think right now, so far, the way that the refs have handled it, I thought they've done a great job keeping calm and keeping their cool. Like, all right, even when they talk it over with the head official, we'll talk it over with his linesman. All right, what did you see here, right? They're always looking for a second and third opinion. Okay, I didn't have a great eye of it. What did you see, though? Was that worth calling, right? And I thought so far they haven't really made that, I don't think there's been that many bad calls so far. I think they've gotten it right for the most part. Even with a Barzal I know the Krejci little tap there in the between the legs there. I don't think when they first call out 5, I understand it's a bit of dirty play, but I'm like, come on, man, this is the playoffs. Just give him a minor for that. Don't throw him out of the game because that's a huge throw out. I mean, you throw a guy like Krejci, your second, other than Bergeron, you can argue he's one of the most important Bruins, right, on that team. So you throw him out of the game, then it's like, all right, what's going on? And you're like, don't throw him out over that. So I think they got it right when they had that little conference afterward and said, you know what, let's turn this into a minor. not a major. Even though in some refs, maybe it could have went the other way and they would have stuck to a major, right? But
should have been a double minor. Should have been a double minor. I mean,
sure.
anytime you go after some guy's berries, I mean, you can't just stick someone there. That's all. I get why you do it. I get why you want to hurt the guy. But again, it's not a major. It's not a game misconduct unless it was like super egregious. Like if he full out pitchforks him, sure.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, hey, if you tap the tip, you're fine. It's nothing crazy.
Tip,
yeah, 15 minutes left in halftime here. Medz, Janz, Cody Janzen and Zach with you. 12-ounce sports. Let's switch gears. Other sports now. Are we going to see Aaron Rodgers in a Packers jersey this year?
Oh, man, I don't know. This whole thing is really starting to get interesting now because I know from the Packers and management they're really trying to hash things over and work it out with Aaron because they keep reminding the media and him if he's even listening. I'm not sure if he's even listening to media at this point that Aaron's their guy going forward, especially this year, but going forward as well. So it's a messy situation, man. Like he's already missed the first mandatory day of minicamp, and there's 3 of them. And for each practice he misses, or I think in all 3 total, I think he's gonna be missing over 100K, which that's pocket change to him. So I know he doesn't have to worry about that. But you got to think as this thing gets closer to like training camp in August, and he starts missing practices, and that bill starts to run up on him, they're gonna have to seriously consider moving him because at some point you need your number 1 quarterback. And is that Jordan Love? Like they haven't really seen enough of him yet, right? So, and obviously if they're like this eager and keen to work out things with Rodgers, it shows that Jordan Love isn't ready yet. That's not their guy right now in the present future. That Aaron is still their guy, the MVP of the league, and you can't afford to lose him if you're the Packers. But maybe right now it's too far gone in Aaron's eyes, and he is really serious about this, and he wants out to go somewhere else because it seems right now that he's completely fed up with the Packers franchise.
I wonder what they're getting as trade offers for Aaron Rodgers. I really wonder if teams are like, do we take a risk on this guy who could just pack it in? Or, do we actually, try and load the farm and bring in a league MVP caliber quarterback?
Yeah.
Kind of interesting there. I don't think we see Rodgers in a Green Bay jersey. I don't know. I think he's just too happy touring Hawaii. He's got his millions and millions and millions in the bank. End of the day, if it's not a situation for him, if he's not going to a team that is on his 2-3 team list, I think he probably just packs it in.
Yeah. And I think he's got that LeBron effect too. Not quite to that extent, but if the team has competent O-line and has some weapons to deal with, kind of what like Tampa had, and obviously when they had Jameis Winston, they weren't over to get with that hump because they went 9-7 back years, and Winston went 30 for 30. It's like a documentary there. But I think you plug in Rodgers with a situation like that, like someone like Minnesota or like Arizona, right? Obviously you wouldn't go there because of Kyler Murray, but somewhere like that where they're able to compete, at least battle, then you turn into an instant contender. We saw it happen with Matt Stafford in LA, and I mean, say what you want, but Rodgers is by far a better QB than Matt Stafford is. So,
yes,
I mean, there's a handful of teams right now battling out for the rights of Aaron Rodgers, and yeah, I agree with you. It's hard for me right now to believe that this has been going on for like a year now. Ever since that they drafted Jordan Love, and we've already hammered that topic a lot about how they kind of disrespect Rodgers over the past, and not keeping him in the loop with like certain things that other teams keep their QBs in the loop when they make huge management choices down the road. And he's been left in the dark a lot. So I don't blame him now. It's like, why would I waste my entering time with this team when they've done nothing to really build around me and except for other areas on the field. And on top of that, they decided to draft his successor down the road, which they used their first round pick for that guy when they didn't need to. So I don't blame for like feeling this way. And right now, it seems like Denver's the biggest suitor for them, so we'll see if they capitalize on that opportunity, but time will tell.
Our big NHL insider, Jack, says Rask is in net for Boston tonight. Clearly, he's not that injured. Maybe he just tweaked something in game number 5. I don't know. Not overly surprised. I think you kind of got to live and die with Rask at this point, especially with Boston media.
Yeah.
But I don't think Swayman's ready for the playoff spotlight. I just don't think that. Okay, switching to some other football news, though. CFL, maybe we get a schedule next week. Maybe we don't. Who knows? Who knows where they're going to play? No one's really got that far into any of this yet. Okay, so what are the Atlantic Schooners going to play, though? You're the guy to answer this one. Like, 2022, maybe 2023. Like, is the stadium still on pace? Are they? I have no clue. I haven't heard anything about this.
So I'm pretty sure they were supposed to start up this year. And they weren't supposed to be playing in that stadium. So I think they're going to be playing their games at the University of Moncton, where they always have that Atlantic game. So I think they're going to do that for the first year or two until that stadium got finished. But ever since COVID happened, it seemed like everyone's plans have been on pause. So I have honestly, ever since I asked people about it sometimes, and they got no answer for me. Like, I asked about like the Halifax team and the Schooners, and they're like, I honestly no idea. Is that even still a thing? I'm pretty sure it's gonna be 9 teams until the merger happens, maybe with the XFL. So I don't know what their plans are for that. I hope they do, because then it'll even out each conference. But right now, as far as I know, it's still on hold, and it's still kind of up in the air if that franchise is even going to move forward with their team.
Did we talk about the Edmonton Elks last week?
Oh, we did a little bit, but we can still, it is starting to sit. I do like it a little bit.
Okay, we've been stewing on it for a week now. Give me a number out of 10. What's your thoughts on this? Logo, design, all the above.
7.
Round number, rookie score. Edmonton Elks. Give me a number. 7.6.
7.6.
It's okay. It's good. It's good. It
doesn't move the needle for me. You know what I mean?
No, it's fine. It's a name.
Exactly, it's fine.
I think they could have done. I think they could have done better. I don't know what. I don't know what better is, but I think they could have done better.
There's this. What it is for me though. It's like being drafted by them and you being around that franchise for a long time too. It's just like there's so much history with the double E. You know what I mean? So, and again, my opinion might change down the road. It's just like it's so fresh right now. It's like you think of like the Warren Moons of the past who play in that uniform. You think of Ricky Ray, right? Fred Stamps, like all these Hall of Famers have won championships with that, with that team, and then just the double E just hits home for me. Where it's just like it's hard to just move on from that over decades of knowing that logo to like just an elk. You know what I mean? It's just weird.
I think they still are going to have that double E logo, but they're going to edit it a little bit or change it a little bit. I don't know. I feel like the big elk on this field is a marketing gimmick to be like, hey, let's, everyone drop the double E. Now let's just go with Elks. Again, I don't know. Okay, moving on. The other football now. Euros start Friday. I'm pumped for it. Just the games. I'll go over. So what I do before these big events is I go into my calendar on my phone and I type out the best games I'm looking forward to. But let's rip through the groups here quickly, some rapid fire. There's 6 of them. I just want to know who you think's coming out on top, because there is a couple of groups that I think could go any way, and we're in for some wild finishes. So Group A, you got Turkey, Italy, Wales, and Switzerland.
I got Italy and Switzerland.
I agree with that. Turkey, Italy, that opens up the tournament Friday at noon, or at least probably 2 o'clock your time, noon ours, or something like that. Maybe it's 1 or 3. I don't know. It's sometime around that. I'm pumped for it. Obviously, Italy's probably just going to beat the brakes off of Turkey. Yeah. But again, I think Switzerland's a solid defensive team. As much as it would be cool to see Wales pull off an upset or something, I don't know. The Swiss just seem to get it done when it comes time. They lock it down defensively. Group B is an interesting one. You got Denmark, Finland, Belgium, and Russia.
I got Belgium and Denmark.
Wow, Denmark pulling through. Yeah. I am excited to watch Denmark.
Good, man. They got a good team.
Yeah, I think Russia has a little bit more skill power, and obviously Belgium. That's my Group B picks there. Group C, you got Netherlands, Ukraine, Austria, and Macedonia. North Macedonia.
Yeah. Oof. Wait, so say that again. So it was Austria.
Netherlands, Ukraine, Austria, and North Macedonia.
Yeah. So it'll be Holland, Netherlands, and Ukraine, I think, are going to pull through that one.
I agree. I'll copy you on that one. Group D, we've got England, Croatia, Scotland, and Czech Republic.
Yeah, for first 2 teams there, England, Croatia.
I want to see Scotland cause all havoc here. Czech Republic, I don't know. I don't think they've got it. But again, Croatia is a very good team. I'll be different than you. I'll go with England and Scotland just for I root for chaos.
Wow. All right.
Scotland's going to come through. They're going to get a full 3 against Czech Republic. Maybe they draw against Croatia and Croatia draws against Czech Republic.
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know. I feel like there's a chance. I'll root for chaos, and Group D's got my vote there. So Group E now, Spain, Sweden, Poland, Slovakia.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to go Sweden. I wouldn't mind. Lately, they haven't really produced that much. But I'm going to go Spain and jeez.
Lewandowski's Poland.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, I'm going to go Spain and Sweden. Or sorry, Spain and Poland.
Curveball last second.
Yeah, Spain and Sweden.
Yeah, it's tough to vote. Spain's obviously, yeah. I don't even know who Slovakia has. I don't have a clue there.
That Hamstrik, remember Hamstrik from Napoli? He's the only guy I've ever known from there.
No,
he got that freaking mohawk with tattoos all over his neck.
Oh, I do.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. He's actually a decent
crazy
player, but that's the only guy.
Yeah, I'll go Spain and Poland as well. Then Group F, this one's a wagon. You've got Hungary, France, Germany, and Portugal.
Yeah, come on. Seriously? You're asking me this? It's going to be
Portugal. I don't know.
It's gonna be Portugal and Hungary. No, I'm kidding. It's gonna be oh man, I would say, you know what? Germany has been my kryptonite in the past. This is one of the few teams I can say about Germany that doesn't really match up to the teams that they had in the past. I think they're actually a bit weaker this time around. So I'm gonna go Portugal and France.
No chance Portugal gets it through. They suck at soccer over there.
Get the hell out of here! Are you kidding right now? The defending champs? Don't give me that crap.
No, I'm going with Germany, France. I'm sticking with that. We'll talk after Group F. Germany, France get through. Everyone's doubting Germany. Stop doing that. Germany's good at soccer.
Thomas Müller, when is he going to hang him up, man?
I don't know. They're not young, but they're experienced. Okay, I did knock down some games though that I think are worth noting. Obviously, Friday tournament opens, Italy, Turkey. Saturday, Denmark, Finland. Now, I think this is Finland's first time in Euros or first time in a long time in Euros. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that one. Just seems like a great country rivalry. Monday, Czech, Scotland. That's going to be a big 3 points there. Obviously, you have to get a full 3 if you want a chance to get through in that group, to have a chance to get past Croatia or England. Then on the Wednesday, it's Italy, Switzerland. Again, Italy, the top team there. I think Switzerland. We said Switzerland's going to cause problems for team. That's on Wednesday.
Shaqiri, man, he's a good player.
Netherlands, Austria on Thursday again. Austria's battled Netherlands hard. I was looking up their record, and I want to say Austria's actually won or drawn in 2 of the last 5 or 3 of the last 5 times they've played. So I think you got to give them credit there. Next Friday, England, Scotland. There's more, but we'll just look ahead 1 week at a time. I'm pumped for it, man. It's morning sports. It's morning soccer. And again, as much as I do love the Champions League, I love club football. I don't know. There's just nothing like Euros. It's international. There's so much pride. There's so much energy. The upsets are so much better. Yeah. It's incredible. But you got to give me a tournament winner now. Mads, what are you going with?
Portugal, hands down. Are you kidding me? This is the deepest team that they've had in years since the 2004 Euro, which they went to the final, hosted it. We don't have to talk about them losing to Greece in the final, whatever. That was old news a long time ago. This is the deepest roster they have. If you go the roster top down, they left pieces out of the roster that would be starters on Germany's 11 right now. I'm confident enough in saying that. That's how talented they are.
That's full.
And Ronaldo's going to break the record. He's going to score more than 6 goals. He's going to win the golden boot of the tournament and surpass, I think it's Ali Day of Iran, who has 109 goals. Because Ronaldo's at 103 right now. But yeah, he's going to end up breaking it. That's my hot take. Who do you got?
No chance he gets 6 in the tournament. They're in the toughest group. I don't even know if they get out of the group
stage. Best player in the world.
I don't know if they get out of the group stage. Oh, man. We'll talk about it next week after the first few games. Who do I have? Yeah. Who do I have winning it? Man, I feel that after a lot of disappointment, Italy could be in line for a breakthrough. They've got a pretty easy pool to get out of. They're going to be pretty well rested going into your 16s or your 8s, whatever the schedule drops down to now. But I don't know. I just feel like it's a year. Everyone's been counting them out. Yeah. Italy, Euro 2020/2021 champions.
Don't say that too loud, man. I'm in a house full of Italians right now. My girlfriend's family is just It's too much, man. Like Friday's gonna be a nightmare for me. So I'm actually kind of pulling more for Turkey that game. We'll see.
That's it.